Hi guys, so this is Joe and I's case study analysis. We actually worked together for the same student on this last one, just because of the fact that we didn't have a student other than this student that showed up consistently. So for part two, we did work together on this, and it was a collab effort between the two of us, but we were the ones who, we were collaborating the entire time. So I saw her every day, and so did he. So our focus student, we're going to go ahead and call Denise for the sake of this. She came into the program, and the information we got said that she was at a third grade reading level, but after performing DRAs, it seemed that she was at an early or middle fourth, and she's going into fifth, so that makes her a little bit below. She's very shy, and it was really hard for us to get her to open up and actually tell us honestly what she really liked and didn't like, but it did kind of come out towards the end, especially to when we would do activities, that she really likes football, she likes soccer. She loves reading about biographies. She's also really interested in African American women, not only in America, but in our community as well. I think too, she wants to be one, which I think she's going to be. So I think that's also why she showed interest in that. She's very, very sweet and kind. So that was awesome too, being able to work with her. And we just wanted to focus on her kind of building her confidence while we focused on everything else that was going on. So instructional goals. We really wanted her to improve on spelling, especially with words that follow the same spelling patterns as the ones she got incorrect on both of the spelling inventories. We did both primary and elementary with her, and there was just some patterns that she was spelling, especially when it comes to misplacing or exchanging vowels. We also wanted her to improve on her reading fluency, most importantly with pausing while reading and pacing, as well as working on body control. And with pacing, that kind of, we specifically mean pausing, because she really didn't pause through words. She almost kind of sort of sounded like Siri, a little bit robotic while she was talking. And we kind of wanted to show her how to be able to express her words while talking. And not only is that going to help her with her fluency and reading in general, but that also helps her with her comprehension and how she understands what the text is about. And then with her volume control, she was just so quiet. You could barely understand her like this. And I think that was because she was nervous that she was going to mispronounce a word, even though that wasn't really an issue she had. So that was just kind of a big focus on that, just to make sure that she projects her voice. And then finally with vocabulary, this was the weakest of her skills that we assessed. And we just wanted her to become more comfortable with even just attempting to define words, because she really didn't want to at first. So what are we doing to help? So some of the instructional strategies were read alouds to help with fluency and comprehension. We did reader's theater to build fluency and confidence in the read aloud, and then that also kind of helped her with her prosody and projecting her voice, and yeah, just that was awesome. And then there were also some various activities that we used during our time with her. We implemented spelling and vocabulary activities into things such as Jenga and football. She considered them and thought of them as brain breaks, but we were just assessing her the whole time, which kind of made it really nice, and it didn't make her feel like she was pressured, because I think she really gets shy and quiet when she gets nervous and feels like she's not going to be perfect in an activity that we give her that she might seem is important, because she is definitely a perfectionist. Even the questions we asked her, she'd be like, I want to be perfect, I want to be perfect. So we didn't want to give her something that she might see is a big pressure situation. So assessment strategies and materials for fluency specifically. Once again, we really wanted to focus on pausing. So we did a pausing activity, and we gave her a sheet with 3 pages. Each page had a passage, and she would have to put dashes where she needed to pause. So that would be like commas, periods, and then just natural ones where she needed to take a breath. So we would have her do that. And then towards the end, she was pausing a lot more and doing it on her own. And it was nice after we did that activity, whenever she would read in the future, we would remind her of it. And she did a lot better. And then especially with the reader's theater, she didn't just rush right through it. She paused for everything. And that really helped with her delivery and her prosody, which was something else that we were working on with her. And she really also improved like her volume control and her pacing as well when we did the reader's theater. She projected her voice, and then she understood the importance of why she needed to be louder, and how being louder and being more expressive really makes people understand what she wrote within the reader's theater was all about. And then it also just got her personality out, which we were trying to do the entire time. So for fluency materials, so this is the activity that we gave her for the pausing activities. She did these little slants herself. So she would, Samantha was orange, fat feline. Like that was kind of how she did it. So she would have to pause in between and take a breath. The next day, Samantha sat by the door as Matt got ready. So like she would have to do that. And then these right here, I don't know if you can read them, but this is just a copy of the Reader's Theater, and she wrote a lot of it, and everything was her idea. And then so that just really helped her not see visually as we were writing it and as she was reading it the importance of projecting her voice and expressing what she's saying. So for spelling, we noticed how nervous and shy she seemed during her first spelling inventory, so we wanted to approach it in a casual, fun way, which is why we decided to do the football activity daily with her. Every time she would catch the ball, we would give a word that would either be on her level, it'd be maybe a word that was in one of the past readings that we did, or maybe it was a word that was going to be in our Reader's Theater, and she would have to spell that word. And then she just saw this as a fun activity. She would ask us to do it every time, and then sometimes she'd be like, ask me this word, and she really enjoyed it, and it really helped improve her spelling a lot, and she got a lot more curious about how certain words that she didn't know were spelled, and she got a lot more confident within spelling. So when we gave her the spelling inventory at the end, she was comfortable and she didn't seem nervous at all. And she did a lot better on both of those inventories. And I think it was because she wasn't nervous anymore. So for vocabulary, we were a little bit stumped because she did so poorly on the first one. She only got a 1 out of 8 and from the BKS. And so we thought that we kind of saw how well she did with the football activity with the spelling. So we thought we would do a similar approach with that. So every once in a while we would have her, every time she caught the ball, she would have to define a word and spell it. So we also did with Jenga, anytime she pulled a block out, she would have to define a word that we gave her or use it in a sentence. And then we would also do that like with a DRA book, like she would read a book out of a sentence or a sentence out of a book, and then we would pause, and then we would ask her to say a word from the text in another sentence, and she would have to do that. And then also her favorite activity was this activity that we did where I would say a word, we'd go outside and I'd say a word such as flop or scurry or grimace, and she would have to act it out with her body or her facial expressions, and then that would tell us that she knew the definition of the word. Even if she couldn't verbally tell us, she could physically communicate it to us. And it wasn't something that she was nervous to do or felt embarrassed, because Joe and I would actually join in on her often, and it just kind of became a funny thing. But she learned a lot of new words, and it really helped her with her writing. And when we were doing our Reader's Theater, she brought up some of those words that she acted out. And then right here is just some of the list. So the first one we did is in one place, make your body rise, lurch, or from place to place, make your body sprint, slink, etc. So for assessments and results, so for the ERAs, she only scored in the 20th percentile and then the 60th percentile for academic reading. So we just thought that we really wanted to make her like reading more and make her more confident within her reading, because we noticed kind of that was the biggest issue for her. And then also for her first attempts, they obviously could improve a lot more. She went from, only to be able to complete, 15 words. And then I believe at the end, she actually completed all 25. And then for her running record, she got in the 96th percentile for her DRA when we did a running record with her. And it was at a level W, which once again, it was higher than what they gave us at first. They told us it was 3rd grade and she was definitely in 4th grade. And then for her VKS, it said at first, she would say that she was a 3 out of 8, but it ended up actually being a 1 out of 8. And then, this is just a little bit more information on the ERAs. She really didn't like to read recreationally. I think she just sees reading as something that's academic, which we kind of wanted to change throughout, which is why we decided to do the Reader's Theater and have her write it, because it's fun. And we wanted her to see reading and writing could be fun and not so high stress, high pressure. So for spelling inventory, she got a 74 out of 82 for the primary, and then a 67 out of 87 for the elementary. So for primary, when we did it again at the end, she got every single one right. She got a perfect score. And then the last day, she did get, she improved by 7 points, which was awesome. And then this for the DRA, this is just kind of the results from the running record. She got 7 errors, and then she had 3 self-corrections. So she basically had a 3-to-1 self-correction rate, and then she read had a 25-to-1 error rate, which made it a 96% accurate rate, which that kind of put her in the independent reading level. So we thought that, that would be kind of a good place for a starting point with her. We didn't perform another running record because we were so focused on the Reader's Theater and stuff. We just felt that was a lot more important. But we did know that throughout the course of the time, we could tell just through the way she was reading and the confidence that she was doing it, that she was really improving her fluency and her delivery and her pacing. For her vocabulary, she started off only knowing 1 out of the 8 words we gave her, and now she knows 4 out of 8 now, which is technically a 300% improvement rate. I know only knowing 4 out of 8 doesn't seem like a lot, but for her, that is a ton, and she tried and attempted each one, which is so much better than we thought she could. She was just so unmotivated when we started with vocabulary, and I think it's because she doesn't have a wide vocabulary, and she knows that, and since she is a perfectionist, that's something that she gets frustrated with. So now, since we did so many activities that were casual with defining words, I think she was more comfortable in just attempting them now. So it was clear that for her fluency to improve, that she was going to have to really just kind of raise her volume and become less robotic. So with doing the reader's theater and just reading things that she was interested in, that really helped her to do so, and making sure that all the texts that we selected had a lot of dialogue, so she would kind of feel like she wanted to, be a little bit more fun and pause and all that lovely stuff. We really wanted her to focus on not stressing that she was going to mispronounce words, because she rarely did that. We just wanted her to see how important delivering words are within your reading. And I think that not only improved her fluency further, but it also helped her really enjoy reading more. And I think it's going to help her want to read more next year in school. I think that she still needs to work on not, pressuring herself with her reading, but other than that, I think she's made a lot of improvement, and I think she's going to have a lot less trouble reading out loud next year in front of her class, because she expressed that she's very nervous to do that. So once again, she made huge improvements on her spelling inventory. I think she still needs to work on making sure that she doesn't switch her A's and her U's, and hopefully her teacher can kind of figure out a good trick and maybe some flashcards or something to work with patterns and stuff for her next year. But I think with doing the football activity every day, she really started to see the patterns in spelling that she had never really been taught. And I think that she really just needed some focus and individualized attention on that. And I think getting like that one-on-one that we gave her every single day with spelling really helped her, not only with like the confidence of trying to spell the words, but it just gave her some more experience with attempting to spell words that weren't just like the, at, a, just easy words. It just kind of gave her a chance to be able to learn and be able to be challenged. And then with vocabulary, once again, she went to only knowing 1 out of the 8 to knowing 4 out of the 8. And with vocabulary, the biggest problem for her is her being motivated to attempt to define those words or use different words in a sentence. I think it's that she doesn't have a very expanded vocabulary. She uses the same words over and over again, and hopefully her teacher will show her next year kind of the idea of synonyms, and that you don't have to use the word awesome, every other sentence. There's so many synonyms for awesome, and maybe they can do some word webs and stuff like that to just allow her to have a bigger range of words that she can use kind of in her back pocket. So our takeaway message was we just kind of really learned quickly how powerful student interest can be when creating lessons and selecting the content. She would often write and say very little during the first few days, and that was because we didn't really know her very well, and we didn't really know what she truly liked since she was so shy in telling us. But she really started to come out of her shell, and she really started to do so much better when we did this writing prompt. She loves Michelle Obama and Justin Bieber, so we actually took this picture from online here, and we gave it to her, and we basically said, you know what, use this picture to create your own story, your own passage. What do you think is going on in this picture? What do you think they're talking about? Where do you think they are? Stuff like that. And she just got to create it all by herself, and she really loved it, and she actually asked us if she could take it to lunch so she could finish and share what she wrote after with us and then some of the other teachers that we had. And this is just kind of her writing sample right here, and she really got creative, and she was just so excited. You can actually see how excited by the stars and the hearts and the abundance of exclamation points. So that was just kind of, this was the most writing she did, like more writing than she did the first whole week that we had her. So just seeing like how student interest can really make a student motivated to write more and to try is, it's kind of like a big revelation that we had, because we know that it's important because we learned about it in class, but just to see it in person was just like a crazy experience. And I'm really going to want to make sure I individualize and use student interest and take that into account with every lesson I do going into level 3 internship and final internship. So thank you so much for listening and taking some 10 minutes out of your day. Yeah,